My fiancée ran off with another man. On our wedding day, right when the officiant asked that all-important question, her answer was, "I don't." Then she turned, grabbed another guy's hand without a backward glance, and made for the door. I didn't try to stop her from chasing her own happiness. Instead, I just pulled out a calculator. Beep, boop, clear. "Since you're leaving," I said with a smile, "shouldn't we settle the bill first, honey?" October 1st. On this perfect autumn day, I was getting married. Up on the altar, my fiancée, Jessica, looked stunning in her pristine white gown. Even a faint trace of melancholy on her face gave her a kind of special allure. I was pleased with my bride. After all, isn't this what a man works his whole life for? Up to that point, the ceremony had been flawless, until the officiant posed the million-dollar question. "Do you, Jessica, take this man to be your lawfully wedded husband?" "I don't." The moment the words left Jessica Miller's lips, the entire hall erupted in a stunned silence, followed by a wave of gasps. Instantly, every eye in the room was on me. In that single moment, I became a walking punchline. Honestly, I was surprised. I never thought a scene straight out of cheesy soap opera would happen to me. "Are you sure about that, Jessica?" I wasn't angry or even particularly emotional. Our whole relationship was just a setup by our parents anyway. "I'm sorry, Michael. I've made up my mind," she said, her voice laced with guilt. She took off her veil and walked off the stage. Down below, a guy was already waiting for her. He was wearing the exact same designer tux as me, his eyes full of delirious, triumphant love. They clasped hands and practically skipped out of the grand ballroom. "Hey, wait a second," I called out just as they reached the doors. "What do you want, Michael?" Jessica spun around, pulling the guy, Leo, protectively behind her. "I'm telling you, you can't force this. I could never love you." "Whoa, relax. Don't get the wrong idea," I said, holding up my hands. "I know you two are in a hurry. Can't wait to start your epic love story. But we have a bill to settle first. Once that's done, you can go. I won't stop you. Deal?" Jessica looked confused, but nodded. "I don't think we have any bill to settle." "Oh, don't worry, you'll see," I said with a cryptic smile, then borrowed a calculator from the venue manager. Beep, boop, clear. "Okay, so this wedding was a mutual agreement, right?" I started. "Yes," she conceded. But now you're backing out." "Yeah," she mumbled, looking at the floor. "Hey, no need for that. No hard feelings, it's just business now," I said, trying to put her at ease. For some reason, my calm demeanor seemed to make her even more anxious. She glanced back at Leo. They shared a look, and their resolve hardened. Love, it seemed, had given them infinite strength. "Just say it," Jessica said, her chin up. "All right, I will. But before I do, I want to confirm one last time, Ms. Miller, you are definitively not getting married today." "Definitely not." "Great. Love the honesty." I gave her a thumbs up. Then, my fingers flew across the calculator, punching in a long series of numbers. It took almost a full minute. Equals $165,722.45. "Ms. Miller, before you go, please transfer me $165,722.45. As the calculator's robotic voice announced the total, the room went dead silent. Every guest was staring at me, their jaws on the floor. Jessica's expression was one of pure, slack-jawed disbelief. "Michael, have you lost your mind?" she shrieked, looking at my outstretched palm. "Over 100 grand. Why on earth would I give you that?" I waved my hand dismissively. "No need to get hysterical. Let me walk you through the itemized receipt." "Fine. Go ahead. I'd love to see how you came up with that number," Jessica said, crossing her arms confidently. We'd only met through our parents and had a pretty short courtship. We'd gone out to dinner a few times, and even with a few expensive handbags I'd bought her, the total was nowhere near that amount. Seeing her confidence, Leo visibly relaxed beside her. The six-figure number had clearly terrified him. "It's $165,722.45. I corrected her, emphasizing the exact figure. She just rolled her eyes. I didn't press it. Like I said, just business. "Look, this wedding reception, the venue, the catering for 300 guests. Does that cost money?" "Yes," she said, glancing around the lavishly decorated ballroom before nodding hesitantly. "And since I paid for all of it, and you're the one calling it off, Shouldn't you cover the damages? I continued. Jessica looked at Leo's handsome profile, gritted her teeth, and said, yes. Okay, next item. The fleet of cars we hired this morning. 8 luxury SUVs. That's 10 grand. Plus the $200 tips for each driver, another 1,600. Your responsibility, Phoenix. The bridesmaids' dresses, the groomsmen's tuxes, my suit, and your designer wedding gown. Do those count? They count. Our engagement photos. I'm sure Mr. Leo here wouldn't want romantic pictures of his girlfriend hanging on my bedroom wall. We'll pay for that. Leo chimed in, more eager than he'd been all day. Great. Then there's the engagement ring and the other wedding jewelry. We'll return them. And the $68,800 cash gift I gave you for a down payment on a house. We'll give back. So, if you run the numbers, does it not come out to my total? I've been talking so long my throat was dry. I grabbed a can of soda from a nearby table, popped the top, and chugged the whole thing. It wasn't my money paying for it, so why not? By the time I finished the breakdown, Jessica and Leo's faces were ashen. I didn't care. You don't get to live out a fantasy and expect reality to foot the bill. This isn't a Disney movie. Michael. Yes. Is there a problem with the math? I asked, feigning ignorance. I knew Jessica's family situation perfectly. They were comfortable but not wealthy. The $68,800 I had given her was long gone, spent by her mother on a condo for her younger brother. They didn't have that kind of cash lying around. Even if they returned the ring, they'd still owe me over 90 grand. I don't have that kind of money. Jessica finally admitted. Her head hung low. What are you talking about? Had your boyfriend pay for it? He's about to marry you, right? A little cash shouldn't be a problem. In fact, the venue's paid for. You two could just get married right here, right now. No, it's not like that. Then what is it like? He just graduated. He's just starting his career. He doesn't have that kind of money, she stammered. No money, I asked. No. None, she whispered, looking like she wanted the floor to swallow her whole. Then what the hell is this? I thought you were some runaway princess, and this was the part where Prince Charming saves you. I was all ready to play the big bad villain for you guys, and now you're telling me you're broke? I slammed the empty soda can on the floor. The loud crash made both of them jump. Jessica's shame quickly morphed into rage. She pointed a finger at me, her voice trembling. Michael, I never knew you were this kind of person. If I had, I never would have agreed to marry you. Did we get married? I shot back. That shut her up. All right, enough of this crap. I said, my patience gone. I'm tired of wasting my time. If my old man wasn't forcing me to get married, a girl like you wouldn't even get past the front door to see me. At this point, Jessica's parents rushed over, frantically trying to convince her to change her mind and go through with the wedding. But she stubbornly clung to Leo's hand, refusing to budge. My own parents stood off to the side, their faces grim. Today's fiasco was a massive loss of face for them. Honestly, they deserved it. Who sets their son up like this? It's a good thing I'm a player who's dated everyone from my secretary to nurses and flight attendants. If I were some hopeless romantic, seeing my bride run off with another guy would have been enough to make me jump off a bridge. A few minutes later, Jessica's parents dragged her back over to me. They'd clearly reached some kind of consensus. As for Leo, he was sulking in a corner after hearing something he didn't like. I was curious how they planned to pay me back over 100 grand. I never would have guessed that it wasn't just Jessica who was a piece of work. Her whole family was something else. Michael, sweetie, her mom began, forcing a smile. First, I want to apologize on behalf of Jessica. She's caused you so much trouble. Let's just pretend today never happened. You two can continue with the wedding. How does that sound? I almost burst out laughing. The audacity was incredible. The sound of their scheming was so loud, it was like their abacus beads were flying off and hitting me in the face. So, if you have the money, you break the engagement. If you don't, you go through with it. What am I, a human ATM? Sorry, not happening. The moment I said no, the smiles vanished from their faces. They clearly hadn't expected me to refuse. Michael, what more do you want? I already said I'd marry you. Jessica yelled, her chest heaving with indignation. What do I want? You think you can just treat me like a backup plan? Pay up and get out? I snapped, slapping the table for emphasis. This is the 21st century. I'm all for new ways of thinking. I'm not against a used car, but not when the previous owner still has a set of keys. Who'd be dumb enough to take that deal? Never, Michael, Jessica said, a new, cunning look in her eye. I won't pay you a single cent. Either you marry me, or you get nothing. She seemed to think she had me trapped. Her threat was so blatant I could see the smug satisfaction in her eyes. Okay, so that's how we're playing it. I actually chuckled. She really thought I didn't have a temper. I turned to one of my groomsmen, still standing awkwardly on the stage. Caleb, what the hell are you doing just standing there? Get your ass over here. Caleb had been sneakily fiddling with his phone, about to start a live stream. With such perfect drama unfolding, he wasn't about to let a chance to gain 1 million followers pass him by. My shout made him jump, and he nearly dropped his phone. Mike, you called? He asked, looking guilty. I shot him a look. I knew exactly what that punk was up to. You were about to use me for content, weren't you? Caleb coughed awkwardly and averted his gaze. Whatever, forget it. Start your stream. Today, I'll be your content. Holy crap, for real. Godfather. Hearing that I was willing to cooperate, Caleb was ecstatic. They say you're supposed to screw over your friends, but in that moment, to him, I was the GOAT. You better hurry up. This offer expires, I warned. Right away, I'm on it. Caleb pulled a selfie stick out of nowhere, mounted his phone, and slickly opened his TikTok live. While he was setting up, I turned back to a bewildered Jessica with a saccharine smile. Dearest Jessica, have you ever heard of the new laws regarding wedding gifts? The courts have made it very clear that gifts like the down payment have to be returned in a situation like this. Did you forget? Just in case her memory was failing, I gave her a little reminder. Sure enough, the color drained from her face. Her parents, standing beside her, went pale. Of course, you don't need to worry, I said soothingly. I'm not going to sue you. I'm too nice for that. I would never force you to do something you don't want to do. Mike, we're live, Caleb whispered. I saw the camera was pointed at me. In that split second, my entire expression changed. I transformed into the world's biggest simp. My devotion became so real, you could almost touch it. Caleb wasn't just any groomsman. He was a legit influencer. He had over 3 million followers on TikTok, where he was known as a sugar mama magnet. The second he went live, his feed was flooded with his wealthy female fans and countless young guys hoping to learn his secrets. But when they entered the stream, they saw me, a stranger. A stranger who, if I may say so myself, was even better looking than Caleb. Purely out of respect for my face, they decided to stick around to see what was happening. And that's when I started to cry. Tears welled up in my eyes and streamed down my cheeks. The rich ladies in the chat were instantly heartbroken. What's going on? Why is this handsome man crying? Oh my God, my heart is breaking for him. Baby, don't cry. Tell Annie what's wrong, and I'll fix it. Annie will buy you a Tesla. Who is this cutie? Come here and let Big Sis make it all better. For a second, watching the comments roll in, I almost broke character. But for the money, I could endure. With a voice full of sorrow, I said, Ladies, my fiancée left me. She ran away with another man. At our wedding. What? My statement left Jessica, who was standing nearby, completely baffled. But I'm right here, she probably thought. She instinctively started to walk forward to explain, but Caleb and the other groomsmen, with impeccable timing, intercepted her and gently escorted her away, leaving me alone on stage to perform. Betrayal is a powerful theme. The moment I finished my sentence, the chat exploded. Within seconds, the screen was a solid wall of text, everyone demanding to know the full story. So I told them my truth. When they heard it, they were furious. WTF, how can a woman be so shameless? She should be canceled. Forever. Sweetie, listen to me. You'll find someone so much better. No, I cried out, rejecting their support. I don't want anyone else. I only want my Jessica. She is my one and only for this life and the next. I can't live without her, just like a fish can't live without water. From morning to night, from the mountains to my study, I will wait. I don't care how many years it takes or how far I have to go, as long as it's her, as long as it's Jessica in the end. My passionate declaration didn't annoy the viewers. It only made them angrier on my behalf. They couldn't understand how such a devoted, loving man could be treated so horribly by a trashy woman. The collective rage in the live stream was so intense, it probably triggered platform moderators. My performance also stunned the remaining wedding guests. They looked at me with a mixture of shock and a little bit of fear. Mike, be honest with me, Caleb said after ending the stream, his voice trembling. Are you trying to completely destroy Jessica and her family? I didn't get it. Why would he think that? I'm such a nice guy. All I wanted was for people to help me persuade Jessica to see the error of her ways and, return my money. In that moment, I saw pure admiration in Caleb's eyes. Dude, you're a genius. You understand the internet better than I do. I just waved my hand. It's nothing really. After Jessica left, the reception wasn't wasted. I had the staff take down the congratulations banner and replace it with one that said Caleb's official fan meet and greet. The wedding banquet became a fan appreciation dinner. I even sent the officiant home and let Caleb have the stage for his own show. The luxury cars were repurposed to shuttle his fans to and from the venue. You should never underestimate the passion of an influencer with 3 million followers. The local fans alone filled every seat. Some even flew in from neighboring states. Part of the crowd was there for Caleb, but a surprising number came to see me. That night was a huge success. Caleb got so many gifts and donations his hands were sore, and he gained hundreds of thousands of new followers. Later that night, after seeing the last of the fans off, Caleb and I went back to my place. The second we walked in the door, he threw his arms around me. Bro, from now on, you're my real brother. You're my guardian angel. I chuckled. Happy? Caleb nodded enthusiastically. So happy. Good. Since you're so happy, it's time to pay up. Pay for what? The reception, the MC, the luxury car service. You think all that was free. Wait, why are you charging me for that? Caleb's brain short-circuited. This wasn't in the script. Why wouldn't I? Stop messing around. Even brothers have to keep their accounts straight. I held out my hand, not joking in the slightest. In the end, I managed to squeeze 20 grand out of him. Seeing the transfer notification on my phone, I smiled, completely ignoring the wounded look in Caleb's eyes. So, after all that work today, I was basically just working for you for free, he muttered, dejected. Cut the crap. You didn't get your hands on any of the bridesmaids? I saw you exchange numbers with at least 3 of them, I said, giving him a sideways glance. After a while, he spoke again. Mike, spit it out. What's your plan now? We were both lounging on the couch, chewing on some high-end energy gummies, the wrappers crackling. I knew he was asking about Jessica. Thanks to the traffic Caleb generated, I was sure that by tomorrow, her family would be internet famous in the worst way possible. They wouldn't be able to buy groceries without a mask and sunglasses. Wait for them to pay me back. What else? I said nonchalantly. What if they don't? Caleb popped another gummy into his mouth. They don't pay. I sue. I've already got a lawyer on retainer. A legal shark who came out of one of those big corporate firms that never loses. Damn. And here I thought you were just going to let it go. Why would I? It's my money. I can donate it, burn it, or throw it in a lake. But I will never, ever let someone who betrayed me get away with it. Savage, Caleb said, giving me a thumbs up. Jessica cracked sooner than I expected. She called me in the middle of the night. I was leaning back in a massage chair at a 24-hour spa, enjoying a foot rub from a pretty technician. Hello. I answered, holding the phone up. Michael, you're a monster. You have no conscience, you. Bad attitude. I hung up. A minute later, she called back. Hello. Michael, I think there might have been a misunderstanding between us. Not sincere enough. Hung up. Michael, you hung up. After the 5th or 6th call, her tone finally changed. I was wrong, Michael. I'm so sorry. I'm the one who failed you. Now we're talking, I thought. Skip the pleasantries and get to the point, I said. We'll pay you back, I promise. But can you give us a few days? My brother's condo needs some time to sell. Can you just know? I hung up again, just as decisively as she had rejected me at the altar. By the way, I said, turning to Caleb, who was busy making the other technician laugh. Do you know that little girlfriend of Jessica's brother? Yeah, I've met her. She hit me up a few weeks ago, asking if I could mentor her. Said she wanted to be an influencer, Caleb replied. Well, you should take her on. She asked you so nicely, I said casually. Caleb stared at me for a long moment, his expression unreadable. Bro, he said finally, you're ruthless. 3 days after the wedding, I got sued. By Jessica. A court summons was delivered to my door. I wasn't surprised. The story had blown up online, and facing the relentless storm of public outrage, her family finally broke. Unfortunately for them, as soon as local law firms heard who my lawyer was, they all refused to take the case. In the end, some old-school attorney who felt sorry for them agreed, to represent them in court. The outcome was never in doubt. They lost. The court ordered them to liquidate their assets to pay me the damages. It was a bit less than my original calculation, but I didn't care. I heard that because of the lawsuit, Jessica had a massive falling out with her family, and they kicked her out. It was her fault her brother's wedding was called off, his girlfriend left him, and they lost the condo. One rainy evening, bored, I took Caleb and a few buddies to a private karaoke lounge. The door to our suite opened, and a new group of hostesses was let in. And there, mixed in with the crowd, was a familiar figure. Caleb and the guys instinctively started to get up. I just frowned and waved my hand at the manager. "Get a new lineup in here," I yelled. "Don't bring just anyone in." The manager bowed and quickly ushered the women out. As she was leaving, I could have sworn I saw a tear roll down Jessica's cheek. A tear of regret and maybe of resentment.